Hi folks, Mr. Woon here, Mr. Woon the Traffic Warden. Today I want to talk about jaywalking. Why jaywalking? Because jaywalking is a very serious traffic offence that's commonly ignored. It is commonly ignored. A lot of times the fault goes to the motorist who knocked down the jaywalker. A lot of times the fault goes to the unsuspecting motorist who got sabotaged and knocked down the jaywalker, who got blindsided because they jaywalk or jay-dash from a blind corner at non-designated pedestrian crossings, which is what I'm going to talk about. This is in view of the recent accident at Bideford Road. Bideford Road, there was an accident on the 2nd of August, 6 days ago. There was this lady, she jaywalked across from Paragon to the direction of the mosque opposite, which is along Bideford Road, and she jay-dashed across 3 lanes in the presence of live oncoming traffic moving fast in her direction. And she appeared from the dashboard camera driver's blind spot. She was jay-dashing across and she got hit by the driver, who most likely did not detect her at all. I'm going to talk about that later. But I want to talk about first is the jaywalking thing. It's a very serious traffic offence that's commonly ignored. A lot of times the driver gets faulted instead. When 100% it is the jaywalker fault, it goes to the driver. And then driver got to pay the penalty. It's not fair to drivers or motorists. Now a lot of times your netizens, your pedestrian, you all like to complain. You say Singapore roads are very dangerous. I agree, Singapore road very dangerous because nowadays there's just too many of us on the road. Everyone is getting impatient. Singapore's a fast-paced society, so the stresses of modern living cause everyone to rush. And then you have roadworks everywhere, you know, the sort of thing in daytime, nighttime also have, so closures everywhere. Too populated country already, and then there's too many of you on the roads. Whether you're a driver, rider, motorist or cyclist or micro mobility user or pedestrian, all of us are commuters. We are sharing this space, so there's a lot of graciousness and impatience that you sense on the road whenever you are sharing space with all these fellow commuters who are all rushing. And a lot of them are also very disgruntled in life about a lot of things, about government policies and a lot of stuff that they are not happy with, So even we would sense it. They would direct the hate towards us when we're on the roads directing traffic. Now I want to talk about this because this really impacts all of us. It affects all of us. Now, jaywalking is actually a very serious offence. It is an offence punishable by $50 fine. It is a traffic offence, commonly ignored and overlooked, and this carries a fine of $50. Subsequent offence, you will see an increment in the fine plus also a jail term. At some point, I know the traffic police were implementing the fines, but that was some time ago and after that the whole thing quietened down. But then again, you can't expect them to be everywhere. We are talking about jaywalking being a serious problem everywhere. You cannot expect TP to be at every junction, everywhere, the whole of Singapore island-wide, 24/7, from 7 to 11, 11 to 7, 7 to 11, that sort of thing. So it's not possible to nab all these people. But I want to say something. You all keep saying that Singapore roads are very dangerous because of drivers nowadays that run the red light, that due to lack of enforcement on the ground, they blatantly disregard traffic rules here and there. They are flouting traffic rules here and there and everywhere. Same goes with the cyclists who run the red light, flout traffic rules, cycle in bigger groups permissible than what's permissible, that sort of thing. And then also the micro mobility users going against the traffic flow, that sort of thing, going against the traffic rules and regulation as well, and all that. But you are also part of the problem. You jaywalkers are also a big problem, a pain in the ass, because you also create a very unsafe environment for fellow motorists and fellow commuters on the road with your jaywalking at your own convenience, thinking that it's okay the driver can far away, I got enough runway, enough platform, enough time to get across 3 or 5 lanes. I can dash across, take my time to walk across slowly. Even when the car come, they got to stop for me, but I'm pedestrian, I got to run out of the way, they will have to stop for me, So a lot of you got this very self-entitled mindset. I'm jaywalking, so what? The driver must slow down for me, ma. It's not like that. It doesn't work that way. Okay, I'm going to talk about this. It's very serious because I think this has got to do with a lot of people nowadays being very self-entitled, and they don't know the highway code. People are just getting more and more self-entitled in this very in this era, a lot of self-entitled behavior and mindset. I'll just put it that way. So I don't want to dive too much into that, but I just want to quickly say that because of these people, the roads are more and more unsafe as well for fellow commuters. Now, I'm going to talk about the accident on Byford Road. Then I'm also going to relate to what we face on the work sites every day. Whenever it comes to LTA roadworks, lane closure at work sites at the junction, at traffic junction and all that, we also encounter our fair share of jaywalkers who blatantly disregard our lawful direction to reroute and to follow a particular route to cross. They always disregard our instruction, especially the elderly people on PMDs, young people as well on PABs, cyclists, young people, old people from all walks of life. That sort of nonsense. All of them. So all of you are a big problem, a pain in the ass. Before I talk about the Byford accident and then also talk on the roadworks, lane closure, jaywalking, jaywalkers that we experience, I want to perhaps preface on the definition of jaywalking and cite some examples on the public way on the road, and when it comes to LTA lane closure roadworks, what are some of the examples you will come across. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, jaywalking is basically, in my opinion, my interpretation of it, right, an unlawful way of crossing the road or public way and not using designated pedestrian crossing to cross within 50 meters of a traffic junction. Okay, so within 50 meters of a traffic junction, if you cross anywhere else other than the pedestrian crossing, you are jaywalking. So where is the designated pedestrian crossing? It is at the traffic junction where you press a button and you can get across to the other side of the road. Within the dash pedestrian crossing boundary, those dotted box, left and right, within that boundary, you cross there, it is a designated crossing. So that is in the traffic junction itself. So within 50 meters of that place, if you cross anywhere else outside of that, but 50 meters within the traffic junction, within the pedestrian crossing area, right, that will constitute as jaywalking. Let me give you a few examples what I mean by that. Okay, one, the most classic case, the light is green man signal is on, but you are not crossing at the dash pedestrian crossing boundary. You are slightly prematurely crossing from the side you are diagonally going across already. Right where the car stopped, before the stop line, you already kind of weave in from his left, appear from his blind spot, and you are going before the dash pedestrian crossing boundary, or slightly even before that. A lot of people, you all like to diagonally jaywalk across before the dash pedestrian crossing boundary. You do it prematurely before the designated crossing. That is jaywalking. Another jaywalking, a form of jaywalking, is when the signal, the pedestrian signal is red man, and you just go ahead anyway. That is also jaywalking. Whether you are crossing at the dash pedestrian crossing boundary or otherwise, if it's red man, even if you're crossing within the dash pedestrian crossing boundary, that is also jaywalking. Okay, other ways of jaywalking would be, for example, when it comes to roadworks closure at the junction itself. Let's say our roadworks eat into the dash pedestrian crossing boundary, and we close that particular stretch of that pedestrian crossing boundary, right? And traffic wardens are deployed on the ground to give you the instruction pursuant to Road Traffic Act 1961, Section 1201 Bravo, telling you as a pedestrian to reroute and divert and go to another crossing, cross from there, go to a U-shape cross, instead of crossing straight, you do a U shape. So from here you cross this way, and then you cross over there, and then you cross again. So you cross 3 times. Instead of crossing here, you go this way first, then you wait and you cross this way, then after that you cross this way. So instead of diverting, you don't listen to us and you go across when we already tell you not to cross here, blatantly disregarding our lawful direction to not cross but to go to another path to cross, to follow a particular line of traffic in relation to the traffic cross this way. You fail to comply, that is also jaywalking. That is also jaywalking. I'll just let you know first. Other examples would be after the other examples would be like, for example, after the 50-meter mark, there's usually a provision of maybe an overhead bridge. You don't use overhead bridge, you just go across anyway. You may argue, yeah, you are saying in theory 50 meter within a dash pedestrian crossing, if I cross within 50 meter, it is jaywalking. But after 50 meter, it's no more jaywalking, correct? In theory, yes, but in practice, it is as good as jaywalking. In theory, it is not jaywalking after 50 meter from a junction, but in practice, it is as good as jaywalking. You just need to set aside the law. Set aside the law. Think logically with your logic, with your rationality, and use your common sense. Use common sense, logic, rationality to prevail over laws. It will tell you that it is just as good as jaywalking. Let me tell you why. Within the 50-meter mark, let's say this junction, pedestrian crossings here, 50 meters here, if anywhere from here to here, 50 meter, I cross anywhere within this 50 meters, is jaywalking, right? If it's not at the designated pedestrian crossing, I cross anywhere there, is jaywalking, right? Then after the 50 meter, it's not jaywalking, man. That theory-wise, in theory it is not, but in practice it is. Because if you look at it, here is already jaywalking. What about here? All the more it is also what? That's why there's a provision of an overhead bridge. If let's say here is not jaywalking within 50 meter, then what about 1.1 millimeter after the 50 meter mark? After the 50 meter mark, 1 millimeter, 1 cm, 1 inch, 1 meter away, what difference does it make? It is still jaywalking. So therefore, that's what I mean by use your common sense, logic and rationality to prevail over laws. After 50 meter, to me, in practice, it is still jaywalking. Even though in theory it is not, it is still in practice jaywalking. That's why there is a provision of overhead bridge, because they cannot plant traffic lights every freaking inch after the 50 meter. It's not possible. So that's why there are other man-made features like the overhead bridge which you have to use for your own safety. That's why they use taxpayers' money to build the overhead bridge. And if you don't use it, you're just not using your money. You're not making use of your taxpayers' money. Okay, so use the overhead bridge. If there's an underpass, use the underpass. That's after the 50 meter. Usually there's overhead bridge, underpass, zebra crossing, right? Sometimes zebra crossing is also at the pedestrian crossing at this traffic junction. So if you use zebra crossing, it's also a designated pedestrian crossing area. After the 50 meter mark, there's usually an overhead bridge, there's an underpass. What else? Sometimes if you go to elderly estate, old estate, you see a lot of silver zones. Silver zone is for old people to cross, yes, because that's already way past the 50 meter mark. And sometimes there's no traffic junction there, so they have silver zone where they can go across. Or if it's at a school area, a lot of school kids running around, there'll be school zone. And these are kind of like traffic island dividers where you can cross safely, and in between you can wait there while waiting for traffic to clear before you go across to the other side. Okay, so you can use these man-made features as well. These are actually to help you. All these traffic island dividers and silver zone, school zone crossings, okay, underpass, overhead bridge. Other than that, you also use the zebra crossing and the dash pedestrian crossing boundary, which is a designated pedestrian crossing at the traffic junction. Use those and you'll be safe. Use those and you'll be safe. Try not to jaywalk across. I'm not saying that we are all saints. Obviously, all of us have at some point in time also jaywalked. Okay, if you have never jaywalked in your entire life, you can be the first person to stand up right now and cast the first stone. Because I'm quite sure you would have jaywalked as well. Touch your heart and ask yourself honestly, you would have. Okay, but as we grow up, As we become matured, sensible adults and working professionals, I think we also have high standards that we set for ourselves, even in the way we do things and conduct ourselves in a day-to-day. So even, you know, like crossing the road, we would tend not to want to take shortcuts, you know, that sort of thing, so as not to inconvenience others. Now, okay, I talked about the designated pedestrian crossing already, which is at the traffic junction. So if you cross there, it is the correct practice, the correct way of crossing the road, which is at the traffic junction using the pedestrian crossing boundary. That is correct. And of course, anywhere else other than that, but 50 meters within the traffic junction, if you were to cross anywhere else other than that pedestrian crossing boundary, that would constitute as jaywalking. Outside of 50 meters of that junction, in theory, it's not jaywalking, but to me, in practice, it is still jaywalking. So the best is to use the overhead bridge if there is an overhead bridge after the 50-meter mark or underpass. Or for your safety, you walk to the junction. Walking is a good exercise, it helps you anyway. So walk to the junction and use the pedestrian crossing boundary to cross the road. Now, even if you have to, we don't condone jaywalking, but even if you have to jaywalk, you also got to use your brain. Right, when you cross, you got to look out, offside, near side, offside, near side. Check clear your offside, near side, offside, near side, offside, near side. Check clear. Make sure from far you can see a long runway platform, enough time for you to get across 3 lanes or 5 lanes. I don't think 5 lanes. I think maybe 2 or 3 lanes, that sort of thing. Won't advise you to go across on 5 lanes. Okay, it's very dangerous. Make sure, even if you have to do it, you look at you check the road, check the offside, check the near side, check right, check left, check that there is, you can see clearly long runway, long run platform, long runway and long platform. You can see clearly there's no vehicle from far. From far, bo lang, bo chia, that sort of thing. You look left, look right, look left, look right. You don't have, then you go. At least that's something. At least that's something, right? You check clear, but try not to lah. And obviously, if you can see that there's already traffic, live oncoming traffic fast approaching you, and they are very near, I think you shouldn't even think about doing that, because you are endangering your life and also endangering fellow motorists. You are going to sabotage them into running you down, knocking you down, especially the vehicles on the first lane, right lane, which you will appear from a blind spot, because other vehicles adjacent to that driver will be blocking you and obscuring that driver, the first lane driver's view of you. You cannot be seen at all, just like what happened along Bideford Road. And that's what I'm going to talk about right now. The Bideford Road is a very stupid accident, because this is just dumb. Because that lady, she could have used the overhead bridge or used the pedestrian crossing boundary at the junction of Orchard Link, Orchard Link, Bideford Road by Orchard Link by Bideford Road by Orchard Road, that intersection there, that junction, she could have used there. Or use the overhead bridge connecting from, I think, Paragon to the other side. But she didn't. She chose to jaywalk, J-dash across 3 lanes. And it seems from the video that she didn't even see where she is. Didn't even bother to look to her right. She just J-dashed straight this way. And then the driver who knocked her probably didn't have time to react. And that's what I want to talk about. From the video, it can be seen very clearly that the dashboard camera shows very clearly the footage that she appeared from the blind spot, that there seems to be our perception, there seems to be, it's perceived to be, to viewers, perceived that there is enough time for driver to actually apply emergency brake to stop on time. But let me tell you something, what you see from a dashboard camera recording is very different from the driver at that point in time driving. The driver driving at that point in time, at that seated height, at that angle, from that view, adjacent to him there's also a vehicle obscuring that woman who's dashing across from a blind corner. His view of her is obstructed. His view at that time is very limited, and all he will tell you is she just suddenly appeared out of nowhere. His explanation excuse will be, most likely will be, she suddenly appeared out of nowhere from a blind spot. I got no time to react. She was not jaywalking, she was dashing across. I got no time to react. She's even coming to... There's a tendency of me to, as a driver, tendency of me to hit her even more, because she's not jaywalking, she's dashing. She's even going faster. So I got no time to react. She's actually putting herself in a grave danger to be knocked down even more, because she's dashing across, and I got no time. I didn't see, and I just, you know, from that angle, from that view, with vehicles adjacent to me, I cannot see. Even though the dashboard camera footage show that she come out from the blind corner, right? That's because camera recording is very different. All I can tell you that camera recording is very different. It will show you, yeah, there's ample time to brake, to avoid her. She can be seen coming out, ma. That's what the judge will also question you. Yeah, you can see, ma, from the footage. Every one of us can also see, yeah, there's probably ample time for you to stop. Why you never brake on time? But from the driver, he will say this, no, I really did not see her. She's coming out from a blind corner, just shoot out of that. I got no time to react. And that's why I say 100% the jaywalker's fault will end up sabotaging the driver, right? The driver will end up being penalized, and he will be charged under Section 65 of the Road Traffic Act 1961, which is not showing due care and consideration, not yielding to road users, causing grievous hurt, harm, maybe even death, that sort of situation. And of course, he'll be penalized quite seriously, even though it's not his fault. He clearly probably wasn't even aware. And that's the thing I want to talk about. Whenever you jaywalk, you need to consider a lot of things. You need to consider driver. Driver, what is he driving? What kind of vehicle? If he's driving a heavy vehicle, he's going fast, it's going to take a longer time for him to brake. A heavy vehicle going faster will take a longer time to brake. First, we talk about a few things. Firstly, driver's reaction. His reaction, firstly must see you already, must be highly attentive, alert, right? Must be focused on the road to be able to detect you jaywalking across. His reaction time is important. Now, there are a few things that will affect his reaction time. Is he under the influence of alcohol? Is he under the influence of drug? Recently, a lot of K-pop users, right? So that affects their judgment. They're not aware of what's going on. They're even doing stupid things like driving against the flow of traffic and all that already. So I'm talking about reaction time of the driver. Are they alert? Are they attentive? Are they focused on the road? That will affect them, the reaction time. Then their braking time. From the reaction time to the time they apply the brakes, that will also take time. Then you don't forget, it's not like you apply brakes straight away, you stop. You apply brake, your vehicle still has to overcome inertia. You know, in study physics, there's such a thing called inertia. Inertia is the body or the particles' natural tendency and inclination to go on a straight line, and unless external forces affect it, right? So inertia, it will have to overcome a bit of inertia before coming to a stop. Unless, a particle or body's natural inclination and tendency to go on a straight line and to carry on until external forces apply onto it to cause it to maybe change direction or to stop or whatever. Alright, that fulfills Newton's first law. Newton's let me see. Newton's first law. A particle in motion will continue in motion unless external force act on it. Then second law is force equals mass times acceleration. Third law is opposite and reaction. Opposite forces equal and opposite forces to balance up. So more on that next time. But what I'm trying to tell you is that based on physics, you talk about inertia, the vehicle cannot straight away stop. It has to overcome a little bit first before coming to a sudden stop. And then you talk about after inertia, overcoming inertia, right? The final stopping distance, the total stopping distance. So it's not like he can brake right away immediately when he sees her. Even though he needs to be alert, then need to apply brake and then still overcome a bit of inertia and then before finally coming to a stop. But it's not helping that she's J-dashing across. She's not jaywalking, she's J-dashing. She's putting herself in grave danger by going even faster right in front of him, so that definitely he will have to langgar her. If she jaywalk a bit slowly, stop a bit, you know, move out a bit, do the 1/4, 2/4, 3/4 rule to look out, you know, check the offside, see whether still got car coming, that sort of thing. At least that one is still not so bad. But she didn't see, she just just go out like that, dash across 3 lanes without even bothering to check. She just end up right in his lane, still dashing across, taking the unsuspecting motorist by surprise. He doesn't even have time to react, he just suddenly bang, knock her down, and then that's it already. That's what I mean. You all don't understand, there's such a thing called the reaction time, the braking time, inertia. Alright, need to overcome inertia before finally coming to a stop. So it's not so simple one. And even though the camera can show clearly all this, whatever's happening, yeah, but from the driver perspective, at that seat height, at that angle, adjacent to him, blind spot, got vehicles blocking the view of his view of that jaywalker dashing across. He cannot see one. There's no time to react. There's absolutely no time to react, and he'll be penalized because of this. 100% is her fault, but he'll be penalized under Section 65 of Road Traffic Act. Not yielding to road user, not showing due care and consideration to fellow road user on the road, causing grievous hurt, harm, or even death. So that's why it's very serious. And even how this relates to us also for traffic warden on the day-to-day, whenever we control traffic on the road, we also encounter our fair share of jaywalkers, pedestrians who refuse to comply to our instruction to not cross or to follow a particular route. Say for instance, our closure is at a junction affecting the dash pedestrian crossing boundary. We tell them this side of the pedestrian crossing closed, you gotta cross the other way. They don't want to listen, they want to jaywalk across, even it's green man, but we already closed that junction, they still go across, they are putting their life in danger. They are blatantly disregarding our lawful direction, not to use this route, but to instead go this route and to take our advice seriously for their own safety and for the safety of other road users. They don't care, they just go ahead anyway. That is also jaywalking. And we face such jaywalkers every day, on a day-to-day. Even if our closure doesn't affect the junction, but we are still near to the junction and looking out for pedestrians, because at times we may need to override traffic in order to decongest the massive jam build up as a result of LTA roadworks lane closure, bottleneck jamming up, all the vehicles jamming up. 2 lane close, 1 lane become 1 lane, all the vehicles jamming up. We may need to override traffic. So sometimes when we tell the pedestrian not to cross yet, they are very stubborn. They just go ahead and cross anyway. You know, disregard our lawful direction, which is under Road Traffic Act 1961, Section 1201 Bravo, which is to obey and comply to our instruction to follow a particular line or traffic, to stop, comply to a stop order, to follow a particular direction in relation to the traffic. Okay, so this is very dangerous, and they do that all the time. And of course, what kind of implications you might ask? What kind of I mean, how serious is this? They don't care only you just don't bother only Mr. Woon. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. I'll tell you what happened. Whenever there's a case, somebody get knocked down, if they refuse to comply to our instruction, let's say example, a pedestrian or maybe a motorist fail to comply to our instruction, if they get into an accident, if they get hurt, if they die, there are a lot of things that can happen for us. We have to write police report. We need to account to traffic police, SPF, because they license us to play the role of traffic warden on the road. We need to account to Land Transport Authority, LTA, because they sanction us to marshal on the road. We need to account to the agency who hire us to perform our role, our duty, to discharge our duty on the ground as a traffic warden. We need to account to the construction crew company who engage us to perform our role on the public way to direct traffic. Why is it I hire you? Why accident can happen? Did you not do your job? They're going to point fingers at you. Okay, other than that, we need to go to court, attend a court session and answer to the judge why this bugger can die under our care, can get hurt under our care. Isn't your job supposed to direct traffic and manage lives on the road? How come this idiot bugger can die, can get seriously hurt under your care? And then if the person die, never mind. No. Die already, we also probably have to account to the family members of the deceased person. Why this bugger, why your this close, your next of kin or this person in your family can die under our care. You know, there's so many things we need to account for. You know? It's not so simple. Then on top of that, we may also lose our license. We may lose our license to do this role as a traffic warden, security traffic warden, which is once upon a time the role of a traffic police on the public way, directing traffic warden plus parking warden. Their role was once traffic warden, parking warden. The role was sublet to ATOS, CERTIS, to APO to control traffic on the road. The role of a parking warden sublet to CERTIS enforcement officer to go around saman. And then after that, the auxiliary CERTIS and ATOS policemen, the role of traffic control sublet to private security industry. That's where we came in to do the role. So it is still a Gazette police order issued under Road Traffic Act 1961, Section 120. It is every road user responsibility to obey and comply to traffic rules and regulations and directions of a traffic warden. You have to comply. These are police orders. You have to follow. Interference to our work is interference to a police order, and it is a traffic offence. It renders you guilty of an offence. Even though on the spot we cannot summon you because we are not traffic police, but we can actually report you. If you are a driver, uncompliant driver, we can report you, let TP take care of you. Now, if you are a pedestrian, you don't listen, if you die, I have to answer to a lot of people. You may think, screw you lah, Mr. Woon, you know what, I don't care, it's my life, I want to go across, what is it got to do you? My own life, my problem. Right, I don't care, my problem. Why you tell me to not to cross? I want to go. I live here every day. Every day I cross here. Why today you must cross this road? Why today you must inconvenience me? I don't care, I'm crossing. So they'll tell you that. They'll tell you I live here every day. Why today I cannot cross here? A lot of people will tell you that. Right, because you inconvenience them. So because of that, they will heck care you. They will go ahead and do this. They don't fuck care your instruction. They will just go ahead. Right, and then that would implicate all of us. Because one person died, we have to answer. We need to really answer. The worst is you go to a court, attend court and answer to a judge and all that. All this to me is can prevent one by listening to our instruction. If you don't follow our instruction, you die. Honestly, you die elsewhere, I don't care lah. But you die within our work site, we have to answer. You are implicating all of us. Just like jaywalker who jaywalk on a normal road situation, you also implicate road user. You know? You implicate driver. You make them, you sabo them. Then they have to end up in trouble just because of you. Your very inconsiderate behavior of conveniencing yourself but inconveniencing others. Which is why I say jaywalking is a very common traffic offence that is commonly ignored. It is commonly ignored. People just brush it past, brush past it. They just think, brush it off, it's nothing lah. It's so common. Everybody does it anyway, what? They will think like that. So they'll tell you, no, it's okay lah. I cross my own problem. What's it got to do? I die my problem lah. I die my problem. What's it got to do you? They'll tell you that. Unfortunately, it's not your problem. If you are crossing our work site, anywhere within our work site, and I'm managing traffic on the road, you got to comply to my instruction. If you don't comply to my instruction, you die, I have to answer to your family. That is the problem. I have to answer to so many people. It's not about, Mr. Woon, you think you what, ego trip, power flex, you think you what, you traffic police, you. It's not like that. It is a police order. We are just performing our role, being responsible. It is a role and responsibility. I'm putting my life on the line out there to ensure everyone is safe. I'm managing life on the road. It's not a power flex. People who keep on saying power flex are insecure people who are trying to project their insecurity onto me and to people like us. They're trying to narrate us and paint us as bad people. They themselves are rotten people who cannot listen to instruction. They want to flout. They got so much to complain. They never done our job a day in their life. They will never understand. They just open their mouth, talk, and sound like internet experts when they never done our job a day in their life. So their words, their opinion do not carry any weight. Their words and their opinions don't carry any weight, and we don't seek their validation, approval, or support. But as long as you are approaching our worksite, you see us, you have to comply to our instruction. I don't care that you don't respect us, you don't like us, you don't like uniform people, you think we are government lackey, You can think of all sorts of things with your disgruntled Singaporean mindset. I don't care. But the thing is, when you are crossing the road at the junction, when we are managing the junction, because our work site is there, we are playing the role of a police officer, superseding the role of a police officer. What was once the role of a traffic police on the road, which became that of an auxiliary police officer, now come to us. We are doing the same thing. It is still a police order under the Road Traffic Act 1961, under section 120, under section 143, under section 142. You have to comply to our instruction, to follow our instruction, not to cross, not to jaywalk. Otherwise, if anything happens, we are answerable. We become answerable. Also, if you are not in our shoes, you never done our job a day in your life, you don't talk. You all sound like internet expert. You talk so much like, this fella, power trip lah, they all don't know what they are doing lah, not properly trained, anyhow signal, anyhow this, anyhow that. So rude, shout, here, there, everywhere. You try doing one, then you are doing worse than us. You will realize you deal with so many stupid drivers, so many stupid people on the road, including jaywalkers, including cyclists, including all the micro mobility users. You will get more pig sick than us, I can guarantee you that. I'm a very nice person, very calm, very composed. I was a teacher before. Even I was a teacher for 10 years. Even I do also, I can feel pig sick by road users. You do what's more, you only talk only. You come and do a job lah. You wear all black, you wear all vest, you wear a cap, you wear everything all black, you stand on road, you do. You play junction one-man traffic police. I give you scenario, all the driver don't comply to your instruction, all go. Jaywalker all cross, nobody comply to your instruction. How are you going to handle? See whether at that point in time you don't shout, you don't scream, you don't stop people. And then people online will just comment, this fucker, this fella, wow, just talk only, power flex, ego trip. Then you go and look so you do it, then you understand. Otherwise, like I said, I don't give a shit about all the netizens what you all say, because your words and your opinions hold absolutely no weight. Your opinions, your words hold absolutely no weight. You have never done our job a day in your freaking life. Therefore, we do not seek your validation, approval, or support. You do not put food on our table, you do not pay the bill. So I don't have to care about what you think. As long as I'm on the road, I perform my role responsibly. I make sure all lives are safe, no accident, zero accident accomplished. I go home, I take my pay, I can sleep well at night. I will not lose sleep over anyone because I know I've done my job well. Okay? So that's pretty much what I want to talk about. It's getting quite long already. Yeah, so, but I hope you guys can really think about this. This is a very serious thing. I mean, we always face this every day, but nobody talks about it. People just brush it aside. Right, and then again, like I said, everything goes back to the driver. Driver always kena by all these people, the jaywalkers. So just know that this is very serious. If you value your life, you cherish life. If you value life, you cherish life, you won't try and lose it. You won't try and do anything stupid to jeopardize your own life or the safety of other road users and for the due consideration of other road users. And of course, if you come across a work site and we are on the ground, deployed on the ground to manage lives on the road, you have to comply to our instructions for safety. It is for your own good. Okay, it's for your own good. And that's all I want to say in this 40-minute long video. I think I've talked enough. I just want to end this video here. I'll be doing more videos down the road. Lately, I've been kind of busy, no mood to do videos here and there, but I'll be doing another video soon, shortly, another video. I want to talk about the signs of how heavy vehicle can tip over, rolling over accident, like the recent one at Yu Tong Sing Street there, and how this also affects all of us road users, and also for traffic warden on the road. It's very dangerous. So more on that in the next video. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you learned something beneficial for you. I hope you stay safe on the roads. Roads, public way is a sheer responsibility. All of us are using it. It's all our duty and sheer responsibility and accountability to keep the road safe. So I hope you guys will do your part. Even as a pedestrian, you don't drive, you don't ride or whatever, you make sure you cross the road safely. And if you're a driver, make sure you drive safely. Don't flout traffic rules and regulations. If you're a cyclist, keep to the cycling rules. Don't go and mess it up for other people. That sort of thing. And I hope that we can all make this road a safer place to commute on, to enjoy our commuting experience. That's all I want to say. Thank you so much for viewing this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye. Stay safe. Bye bye. God bless you.